I never thought I would be the kind of person who posts their life on the internet. I always believed private problems should stay private. But the night my mother told the police I was lying about being stalked inside my own family, something in me broke. It started with a text message that should not have existed. It was sent from a phone number I had never shared with anyone. The message said, "I know where you are right now. Don't turn around." I was sitting alone in my car outside my apartment, engine off, lights out. When I looked up, I saw my uncle's truck parked across the street. At that moment, I realized this was not just family drama. This was something darker, and no one in my family wanted to admit it. I'm a 29-year-old man living in the Midwest. I moved out of my parents' house 5 years ago. I work a steady job in logistics. I pay my bills. I keep my head down. I am not perfect, but I am independent. My problem is my uncle. I will call him Ron. Ron is my mom's older brother. Growing up, he was always around. Family barbecues, holidays, birthdays. He was loud, opinionated, always had advice nobody asked for. Everyone brushed it off as him being old school. When I was a kid, Ron treated me like a project. He would comment on my posture, my clothes, the way I talked. He would say things like, "I'm just trying to make a man out of you." My parents laughed it off, especially my mom. She adored him. As I got older, his attention didn't fade. It intensified. When I was in college, Ron started showing up unannounced. He would say he was in the area and wanted to check on me. He would ask about my classes, my friends, my dating life. It felt invasive, but again, family told me I was overreacting. After I graduated and moved into my first apartment, Ron somehow knew my address. I never gave it to him. I asked my parents if they shared it. They denied it. That was the first time I felt uneasy. Ron would drive by my place. He would comment on my car being parked crooked. He would ask why my lights were on late. He once mentioned a woman leaving my apartment and described her clothes in detail. I never told him I had company. I confronted him calmly. I asked how he knew these things. He smiled and said, "I notice stuff. That's what family does." I told my parents. My dad looked uncomfortable but said nothing. My mom got defensive. She said Ron was just worried about me. She said I should be grateful someone cared. Things escalated when I started dating someone seriously. Ron didn't like her. He said she was a distraction. He started sending me long texts about focus and discipline. If I didn't reply, he would show up. One night, I came home from work and found Ron sitting on the steps of my apartment building. He said he was waiting to make sure I got home safe. I told him that was not okay. I told him to leave. He laughed and said, "You don't get to push family away." I blocked his number. That is when the messages started coming from unknown numbers. They referenced things only Ron would know. My work schedule, my grocery habits, my girlfriend's name. When I told my parents, my mom accused me of targeting Ron unfairly. She said I was paranoid. My dad told me to keep the peace. Then came the night in the car. The text, the truck. I called the police. When they arrived, Ron was gone. I showed them the messages. I told them about the pattern. They asked if I had proof it was him. Before I could answer, my mom arrived. Someone had called her. She told the officers I was under stress. She said I had always been sensitive. She said Ron would never do something like this. The officers left. That night, I realized I was alone. I didn't expect my original post to get attention. I wrote it late at night, half shaking, half numb. When I woke up, my inbox was full. People told me to document everything. Save messages, take photos, install cameras. I did all of it. I also stopped answering family calls. Ron did not like that. He started contacting my workplace. He told my supervisor he was concerned about my mental health. He said I had been acting unstable. My supervisor pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay. That was humiliating. I filed a formal complaint with HR. I explained the situation. They were supportive, but I could tell it changed how they saw me. At home, my security camera caught Ron walking past my building at odd hours. Sometimes he would stop and stare at the door. Sometimes he would take pictures with his phone. I sent the footage to my parents. My mom said I was escalating things. She said I was trying to destroy the family. She said Ron was hurt. My dad texted me privately and said, "I believe you're uncomfortable, but you're handling this wrong." That sentence stuck with me. I went to the police again. This time, I brought printouts, screenshots, footage. The officer took it more seriously. He said it could qualify as harassment. He suggested a restraining order. When my mom found out, she showed up at my apartment crying. She said I was tearing her apart. She said Ron had done so much for her growing up. She asked how I could do this to him. I told her how scared I was. I told her I didn't feel safe. She said, "He would never hurt you." That night, Ron sent me a message from a new number. It said, "You're making this ugly." I got the restraining order. Serving it was messy. Ron refused to accept it at first. He argued with the server. He called my mom immediately after. My phone exploded with messages from family, cousins, aunts, people I barely spoke to. They all said the same thing, that I was overreacting, that I was breaking the family. Ron did not stop. He stayed just far enough away to claim he was following the order. He parked across the street. He sat in public places near my job. He posted vague messages online about betrayal and loyalty. I documented everything. One night, my girlfriend and I noticed his truck following us. We took turns. He stayed behind us for 15 minutes. When we pulled into a police station parking lot, he drove away. That was the first time my girlfriend cried from fear. I added that to the file. The police warned Ron. They told him to stop all contact. He smiled in his mugshot photo when they booked him for questioning. My mom stopped talking to me completely. My dad sent one message. He said, "I wish this didn't have to go this far." I started therapy. The therapist helped me understand something important. This was not about family loyalty. This was about control. Ron had never seen me as a person. I was an extension, a possession. When he lost access, he panicked. The court date was set after the hearing. The hearing was quiet. No drama, no shouting. I told my story. Slowly. Clearly. The judge listened. Ron's lawyer argued that he was misunderstood, that he was protective, that cultural differences played a role. The judge shut that down. The footage spoke for itself. The messages spoke for themselves. The judge granted a long-term protective order. He warned Ron that any violation would result in arrest. As we left the courtroom, Ron looked at me. His face was empty. No anger, no sadness, just calculation. My mom didn't look at me at all. 2 weeks later, Ron violated the order. He sent a handwritten letter to my workplace. It was delivered to the front desk. It talked about family bonds and forgiveness. It said I was making a mistake. My supervisor called the police. Ron was arrested. That was the moment everything shifted. My mom called me for the first time in months. She was quiet. She asked what was happening. I told her. She didn't defend him this time. She just said, "I didn't know." I didn't know what to say to that. 1 year later. Life is quieter now. Ron took a plea deal. He has conditions. He cannot contact me. He cannot come near my home or job. If he does, he goes back. My parents are still together. My mom is in therapy. She admitted she ignored things she didn't want to see. My dad apologized. He said he chose peace over protection. He said he was wrong. I keep distance. I moved to a new place. Not because I had to. Because I wanted a clean start. Some family members still think I went too far. I don't argue anymore. The fear doesn't run my life now. I sleep through the night. I don't jump at every sound. I learned something hard. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones who enable harm. And sometimes choosing yourself means being the villain in someone else's story. I can live with that. If you're reading this and something feels familiar, trust that feeling. You are not dramatic for wanting safety. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. Peace is not loud. It feels boring at first, and then it feels like freedom. If this story meant something to you, take a second to stay with the channel. Sometimes hearing the truth helps us feel less alone.